Welcome back. Terrorist watch list encounters at our southern border. On track to outpace last year's record. So far this year, border agents have stopped 69 people between ports on the FBI's terrorist watch list, bringing that total to 182 since 2021. Between 2017 and 2020, only 8 people were apprehended who were actually on terrorist watch lists. So now we're up to 182. These arrests made between ports. Joining me right now is Nebraska Senator Pete Ricketts. He is a member of the Foreign Relations and Environment and Public Works Committees. Senator, thanks very much for being here. I know you were at the border. You made a trip to the border earlier this month. Tell me what you saw, and what should we be thinking about these people being apprehended who are actually on America's FBI terrorist watch list?
Yeah, this is just another example of how President Biden is making our country less safe, endangering Americans by not securing the border. Not only are we seeing, huge amounts of illegal drugs that are dangerous, that are killing Americans. The leading cause of death of Americans 18 to 45 is drug overdose. But now we're finding out reports about how these terrorist watch list people are coming across the border in record numbers. Police chief or Border Patrol Chief Raul Ortiz says he doesn't have operational control down there. And while we were down there visiting, we heard that, for example, the number of Chinese nationals coming across the border around McAllen was up 400%. That we see this in other sectors of the border as well. There's lots of people, not just from Central and South America, coming across. And that doesn't even include the 600,000 gotaways that aren't even being counted as numbers. It's just, the President Biden is just not engaged on important issues that affect the safety of our nation.
Well, it's just extraordinary. Why is that? Why wouldn't he be concerned that 6 million people have breached and broken the law by coming into America illegally, and they're here, and they claim they're waiting for court dates, but they may very well not show up. That could be in years. Why wouldn't he be concerned about that?
There's no answer for it, why the president or the vice president is not more engaged with this. But it gets back to their priorities. I mean, if you look at the budget they just came out with, they're looking for $535 million for Customs and Border Patrol, but they want to spend 7 times more than that, $3.9 billion in the Department of Homeland Security on climate resilience programs. I mean, it's just a misplaced priority about what's important to this country and how we secure our people. It's just another example of how the Biden administration is failing this country.
Well, it's a good point, because next week's going to be a real important week. We've got the FOMC and Jay Powell, their 2-day meeting. Then you've got the Powell press conference. You've got the House testimony of the CEO of TikTok. Biden is going to Ottawa, Canada. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen was pressed at the Senate Finance Committee hearing yesterday about a lack of a plan for Social Security in the middle of all of this. Watch this.
Why doesn't the president care?
He cares very deeply.
Then where is his plan?
He stands ready to work with Congress.
That's a lie, because when a bipartisan group of senators has repeatedly requested to meet with him about social, we have not heard anything on our request. And we've made multiple requests to meet with the president. That is a fact. And if you've been told to say he stands ready to meet, I will tell you there's absolutely no evidence, because we have not gotten our meeting.
So where is this going, Senator? We are talking about fragile times for the macro economy. We've gotten bank failures. We've gotten a slowing economy. We've got the Federal Reserve still raising interest rates. And now you are sitting on the doorstep of a massive fight over the debt ceiling. And you just heard that exchange.
Yeah, this is the president's MO. When I was governor, I asked the president directly, face-to-face, for me to talk about an important issue that would impact health care in Nebraska. I just asked for a 15-minute phone call. The president said yes, and then his staff never set up the call. They refused to let me talk to him. Also as governor, myself and my colleagues sent him a letter about the border security. He never responded. We asked for a meeting. He wouldn't give us one. And now you see this exchange with Senator Cassidy. In fact, actually, when we were down on the border as well, Vice President Harris hasn't even had any of her staff call people down at the border to find out what's going on. It's just another example of how the Biden administration is not engaged on important issues. They won't even take meetings. In this case, I'm not part of Senator Cassidy's bipartisan group, but it's a bipartisan group of people who want to talk about very important issues. How do we keep seniors safe and keep their Social Security benefits?
Yeah, and I point you to Kim Strassel's report, her op-ed in the Journal this morning on ESG. You're on the environmental committee there. She asks the question, did ESG help sink SVB? And this administration has had this all-of-government approach to climate change, and we're wondering if that is the underlying reason Mary Daly, the president of the San Francisco Federal Reserve, completely missed the problems at Silicon Valley Bank because they were more interested in would-be green innovators and following this honeypot of climate change set by the administration.
Yeah, if the president wants to start turning this country around, what he needs to do is start closing the border and opening up pipelines. We all want to take care of the environment, but we've got pressing issues, and you've got to focus on the things that are going to matter to people in the present day, like taking care of the southern border, addressing Social Security, and in this case, having regulators pay attention to actual banking. I mean, I've talked to a number of bankers about the Silicon Valley Bank. This is math. This is banking 101 to be able to have proper management, proper supervision, and clearly this was failed on both counts. And again, it's just a pattern with this Biden administration.
Well, by the way, you're on Foreign Affairs. There's a report in the Washington Free Beacon today that the latest Biden administration sanctions waiver allows $500 million in payment for Iran. And this is coming from Tehran. They say the administration has cleared the way for a $500 million payment to Iran's hardline regime that was being held up by sanctions, according to Iranian officials. Senator, can you confirm that?
I have not seen that article, and I can't confirm that, but it is something that is very concerning about how the Biden administration is not focused on Iran. I was over in the Middle East a few weeks ago speaking to some of our allies, and they're very concerned about how the United States is not taking a tough line with Iran. The UAE was very concerned, for example. In fact, Secretary Blinken had to call and apologize because a year ago, when they were attacked by missiles and drones, President Biden didn't call and offer any condolences. And so this is just, again, the Biden administration is checked out. They're not paying attention to important issues, and it's making our country less safe.
Senator, thank you. We'll be watching all of this. We appreciate your time. Pete Ricketts joining us this morning in Nebraska.
Great, thank you,
sir.